And welcome to Game Creation. So, in this week, we're looking at making a Bejeweled or Candy Crush clone. If you are wondering why the camera is slightly different, maybe you haven't, but I'm using my backup camera because the camera I normally use, I forgot to switch off yesterday, and it just destroyed all of the battery. And it's one of those ones that has a single USB-C plug where you either charge it or use it as a camera. It's quite irritating. So sorry if the quality of the camera has gone downhill. It looks alright actually. Anyway, so what we're going to do today, for reference as well, actually I should say, that this week is what in the UK or in England is the Maths GCSE or Math GCSE, and my day job very much revolves around that exam, and it's on Friday. So that's why this week has been a bit more short and snappy. I'm going to go live in about 40 minutes with a whole load of 16-year-olds who are about to do their exam tomorrow. It's Thursday today, isn't it? So that's why short but snappy. Anyway, okay. So what I want to do, we're just going to run it first, so we can pick any and we can move them wherever. Okay, that's not ideal, right? So what I want to do today is either move it in the X or the Y. Okay. So when I move the tile, we've got all this stuff going on, right? And the reason we've got all this stuff is that we want to be doing calculations, and we want to either move the X position or the Y position, depending on which one is the dominant one, right? Which one do we think the user's trying to do? Okay, so we've created these kind of two events deliberately. On, is it Monday or Tuesday's one? I think it was Tuesday's one. So that we don't, so that we can have like a little condition here to do some maths, right? So when I run it, if I'm over here, the Y might have changed a little bit, but the biggest change is the X. So clearly I want to move it across. I don't want to move it up. I can't remember. Can you move these up? You can, can't you? Yeah, you can. Okay. So we're looking for which one's the biggest change. If the biggest change is the X, we want to do the X position thing. If the biggest one is the Y, we want to do the Y position thing. And there's going to be a slight issue with that, which we'll probably look in debugging. Okay, so we are looking at the difference between the two, aren't we? So we've set tile X. So we've set the starting X to here, have we? Don't even know. Yeah, we've set the starting X to, oh no, that's just an identification. So we haven't got any starting position stored anywhere. So we need to do that in my data store. So starting position X, and then we'll have a starting position Y. So we know where the tile started, right? Oh, always click that one. Okay, so if you click on it, then we need to instantly set the starting position. Oh, every time. Get there in the end. So set starting position X to the just to the coordinate of the X, then do the same with the Y. Starting position Y, and then just literally the Y coordinate. And then what we want to do is compare the two. So can we compare position? Compare X position to a value. Well, we're looking at the mouse, aren't we? I might need to change that later. So I don't think we can compare the mouse. I think we need to do, don't think so. So we need to just compare two general values, right? The X of the mouse, current X position of mouse. So we're going to look at the difference between the X position of the mouse and the starting position, which is stored here. Now, the problem is that it could be to the left or right, okay? So we are just looking at the distance. So we need some way of just going, look, I don't care whether it's to the left or the right. I just want to see what the distance is. And the way we do that is using absolute values. So just basically make everything positive. If I can remember, I think I can just type it in. Let's try ABS bracket. Sweet. I don't know where it is. Is it in here somewhere? I have no idea. It's probably one of these guys. What do you reckon? In maths? I don't know, logical? Calculations? Absolute value, there we are. So we could have done that. It's just ABS, absolute. And then we go compare it to the distance of the Y mouse and the starting position Y. And we're going to say if it is greater or equal, why not? Greater or equal, then do this one. Then the intention is to move the X. And then if it's lower, so make sure you've got all the bases covered, then Y. So the priority will go to X if it's the same. Okay, let's have a look. There we are. So you can see here that it is only moving the X or only moving the Y. Now, you'll notice it's doing really weird things. It's snapping back to weird positions. And that's because if we're moving the X, we only want the X to move. So what we need to do, I'm just going to copy and paste this, because what I want to do is set the Y position back to the original. So you can't move X and Y. You can either move X or Y. And same with this one, is we want to move the Y position, the X position, sorry, back to the start. So you're saying, look, mate, you can only change the X or the Y. If you're changing the X, that's fine, but the Y position has to be where it started. And so if you look at it now, and then if I snap up, the only weird thing is that it seems to jump a lot, doesn't it? I think have I mucked up where the hotspot is? I don't think I have. I think I've put all the hotspots at the top. Should all be at the top. Could probably put them all in the middle, to be honest. Just that will muck up a whole load of other things. Yeah, so it kind of looks a bit weird when you go up. When you go down, it seems to be fine. It's just when you go up, there seems to be a jump. So there seems to be a whole range here. Ah, that is because the starting point is up here, isn't it? And so it's comparing the mouse with up here. So what we want to do is we need to take that into account. So the X mouse, so it's the starting position is at the top left. We don't want it to be at the top left. We want it to add on half of the width, because we need it to be in the middle, right? That's why we test, okay? And then we need to add on half of the height, because this is at the top, therefore we need to just add on half of the height. And then let's copy that down there and then make it lower then. That should work nicely, hopefully. Oh no. Is the side bit work? Yeah. I think I'm supposed to subtract them. Don't know. I didn't think I'd need to subtract them. It's logic. If adding doesn't work, always try subtracting and then figure out why it worked later. Yeah, that works fine. Welcome to my debugging. My debugging is, if adding doesn't work, just put a minus there. I'm sure there's logic there. Let's have a think. So it was comparing the mouse X with the top left. So we need to, I would have thought we'd need to add and add. But it's saying we need to subtract. Am I subtracting from the mouse? Maybe that's why, I'm subtracting it from the mouse. Weird. Anyway, that seems to work. So you can only slide it in the X position or Y position. Now this is weird. Why is that not that's slightly out of kilter, is it? Is that true for all of them? Oh, it's because I stopped, that's why. Okay. So we need to have it so that if you stop, it snaps back into position. So if I stop now and then carry on, it'll allow me to be out of kilter. But that won't be a problem because the whole point of the game is that you swap it with something else, which we'll do next time. Right, I need to leave it there because I've got to get ready for this live stream to a whole load of people doing their GCSEs. Looking forward to it. I did it yesterday without telling anyone, and like 5 people just turned up and said, "Oh, you've never done this before? Oh, wow." And I was like, "Yeah, just ask me anything." And so we just went through some maths. It was really fun. But I've told people about it this time, so we shall see. Anyway, that's enough about my day job. So we've managed to move it in the X or Y position, which is amazing, because you want to constrain the player into moving in those directions. But what would be really irritating is if you try and move it to the side and then you change your mind and you've still got your finger on it, you can then change it upwards. So you can kind of see what the intention is. But we'll play with that later on. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like it, click like. If you want to see more from us, click subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.